Welcome to Inside the GBL. This is Tyler Walk and Mike Kabaki Jr. We will be discussing the league's hot topics. We'll be going over the standings. We'll be going over the power rankings and all the stats for so far this league. We'll also be going over some NWLA coverage for later for the regionals. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So our first topic of the day is going to be our standings. We're going to go over the standings real quick. We're going to go team by team preview. In first place is the Stallionaires, and they are also number one in my power rankings. They've had a very good season so far. They look very dominant. But, Mike, there is an issue. What is that issue?
There is a small issue that I see when I look at this team from top to bottom. Mm-hmm. Now, the pitching has been absolutely stellar. No one's been able to touch them. The worst ERA in their team is John Reyna, who's only sporting a 1.11 ERA. But you look at Nate Bryant, who, even for him down year, hitting only 360. Mm-hmm. He only has 2 home runs as well. But on top of all that, you look at the fact that no one else on the team is hitting above 261.
Yeah, it's not a good start. If they don't get their hitting together, they might not get to where they want to be at the end of the season. That's pretty much world champions.
Well, the thing is, with this pitching, if the pitching holds up the way it has thus far, which you would be looking at career bests for John Reyna and Nate Bryant, if they could stay at career best pace, then yes, they could still compete for a GBL title this year. But if the pitching doesn't hold up, they're going to need to find their offense somewhere.
Somewhere it has to be. You could probably see it coming. There's been spurts here and there with a couple of outbursts, but they're still going to be a dominant pitching staff for the rest of this season. So I don't think we're going to be too worried about them in the future.
No, there's not going to be much talk about this until it comes down to the last 2 weeks of the regular season and you're worried about playoff seeding. And then from there, the big bats come to play and the big arms come to pitch. So any team with Matt Kuna on their team who can pitch in a Game 7 is a very dangerous team.
They're going to be very dangerous through right now until the end of the season. But for our number 2 team, a surprise so far, I'm not surprised, I predicted it before the season, is our Nighttime Ninjas. They are 4-2 and they're also number 2 in our power rankings. They have matched their season single win total forever. They have not won over 4 games in any season. They've already hit 4, and we're only in week 3. So one more win, and they've beaten their total. Mike Kabaki, you are the manager of the Nighttime Ninjas. What do you like so far about your team?
Well, everyone knows in the offseason I made a big trade to get Ethan Harvey on my team. And you see right here, the stats show why I've done it. Right now, he kind of got shellacked in his first couple outings, but he's been dealing with shoulder issues. I understand that. He put that all aside, though, in his most recent outing. It shows he's still a force to be reckoned with on the mound. He shot out the Bird gang, 7 strikeouts out of the 8 hitters he faced, and just completely shut them down en route to an annihilating victory. But he's also hitting. He's among the league leaders in batting average and on base percentage. He's leading the league in home runs and RBIs by a very large margin. He's sitting at 7 home runs and 25 RBIs. The next leaders in those categories are at 5 and 17.
So he's definitely come to play this season. He might be a little bit mad that he got traded. I've heard a couple of chirps out there to the Gas House Gorillas. Maybe you should have traded me. Mm-hmm. He's going to try to prove it. And he certainly is right now.
Well, it's kind of nice. I've put together a nice little team that has some guys with some chips on their shoulder. I know myself, my first year in the league, I wasn't a manager. I was part of a team, and I felt like I had a decent rookie showing, and I did not get re-signed. And I did not get signed by a team either. Mm-hmm. I actually got lucky. I wasn't going to be in the league my second season. A team dropped out last minute. I was asked if I could put together a team, so I scrounged up someone who people may know of, Sammy Kruchek. In this league, he's been MIA this year, but I picked him up that year, and it's been a struggle ever since. But I got some guys who are out to prove the league wrong, and I know Ethan took a little exception to getting traded. I think that we're going to see that in the next couple of weeks here when we face Gas House Gorillas in the nightcap.
Yeah, they're going to be a very dangerous team, and I will be bringing you that nightcap. Maybe I'll have a co-host, maybe I won't, but we will see. But congratulations on your success so far.
Thank you. Hope you keep it up.
We're going to move on to our next team, the Gas House Gorillas. After a slow start going 2-2, they're now 4-2 after thumping the Lightning this week. They are now third in the power rankings. They were 4th last week. They've had a little bit of issues here, losing games late. Mm-hmm. That's about the only issues they've had. They've been about the same team they were last year, but they just keep losing games late, and the only 2 games they lost were in the last inning of each game. So it's going to be, they're still going to be dominant. But it doesn't matter. Can they close games out? Will they be able to do this?
Well, they're kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum with the Stallionaires. Right. Their pitching has been suspect in the late innings. It has.
Yes.
But they have the one 4, and 5, number 1, 4, and 5 leaders in on-base percentage, respectively, in this league. They have guys that are getting on base, they're taking their walks, and they're not striking out a lot, which is one of the big keys in this league.
Yeah, if you strike out, you're pretty much wasting it at bat. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, and when you strike out with only 2 outs in an inning, you're really killing the momentum. You got to get the ball in play. Anything can happen in this sport to get the ball in play.
And with 1 out of the innings, there is only 2 outs total.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Just clarifying, can you give me a rundown of Jim Tucker's pitching stack? So he has been on fire this season. He's been almost unhittable.
He has absolutely put the team on his back this year. He is the winning deciding pitcher in all 4 of their victories this year. I'll give you the quick little line. He's 4-0. He's pitched 11 innings. He's only given up 6 hits, and he's only given up 6 walks, while striking out 12 of the 24 outs that he's got. I'm sorry, the 22 outs that he's gotten in his innings pitched. He's sporting only a .45 ERA.
Yeah, that's a really good season. He's an early Cy Young candidate. But I will say, most of those strikeouts, I'm pretty sure were against me.
Yes,
I know I wasn't too.
Yeah, we try to
but
not
he's still
talk too much about your return to the GBL. We'll keep you as our media coordinator for now. You're doing good at that.
Thank God. All right, we're going to our next team, the Taka Drivers, who are 3-3. They are 4th in our power rankings this week, and they were number 3 last week. They dropped this week because they lost the game because the Gas House swept. But let's talk about their success. They're 75% of their team's rookies.
Yes.
Chris Barkley, Mark Mesnikowski, and Ryan Voges have all been playing very well.
Mm-hmm. And Jackson Bazia is only in his second year in the league.
Season, yeah. This is his team now. He was on the Bird Gang last season.
Mm-hmm.
He has put together a nice squad here.
He's done a pretty good job. And with any rookie, there is normally a quite the learning curve in this league. It's a little different. It's tough to see the ball at such a short distance.
Right.
But he's done really well getting guys together who can't come to play. No stellar ERAs except for Mark Mesnikowski, who has absolutely been lights out on the mound with only a .42 ERA. He's sitting at 2-1 in 12 innings pitched. He struggles a little bit with the bat, only hitting .270, but you have Ryan Voges and Jackson Bazia really holding this team up. Jackson leading the league with .524 batting average, and Ryan Voges is doing really well for rookie, hitting .409, and with some timely hitting, he's taking his walks too, sporting a .618 on base percentage, leading their team.
Yeah, they do have a little bit of an issue though when it comes to pitching. They only have one. Mark Mesnikowski is on fire.
Yes.
But everyone else is not doing too hot. But they have plenty of time. Like you said, there's that big rookie curve. Mm-hmm. So they have time to figure their pitching staff out.
Yeah, they're still going to have 7 weeks of games left before, the playoffs start, which as of right now, I feel like the top 4 teams are really showing themselves in this league through the first 3 weeks of play. So they just got to hold off the lowly Lightning and Bird Gang at this point, and just get themselves ready and prepared for a dogfight in the playoffs.
Correct. They're going to be going head to head with the top team if they sit in that 4 spot right now.
Yes.
We'll go to the number 5 team, 2-time former champions, which seems like a very long time ago.
Eons ago.
The Lightning. They're 2-4 this season. They actually don't have a victory yet. Their first 2 wins were based off a forfeit. And they are last in my power rankings this week because we can't hit. Well, as I said, I played last week for this team, but we couldn't get anything going. And the weeks before that, they really couldn't get anything going either.
And it's not even just hitting. Other than Feldy, who's sporting a very respectable 3.33 ERA,
right.
There's no pitching on this team. Garcia has 3 innings pitched with a 20 ERA.
Right.
Tyler Walk has 2 innings pitched with a 12.5 ERA. The highest average on this team, batting-wise, is 174, and the highest on-base percentage is only 467, which for this league standards is subpar at best. Yeah, this team it needs a lot of work, and where is Tommy Merkeles?
Correct. We're going to be talking about
question.
that.
Where is Tommy Merkeles?
We are going to be talking about that a little bit later.
A little foreshadowing.
Yeah, a little foreshadowing. Their manager is MIA so far this season. They need his leadership. The Lightning do need it.
They do need it.
He had some good stats last year after I looked at it.
And not just that, he had some calmness about him that spilled over to his teammates. Andrew Feldy, as a rookie last year, was one of the Rookie of the Year candidates. He pitched great. He hit great. He was an immediate impact from the time he hit the league, and he just doesn't have it this year. He doesn't have that same zip on his fastball, that same moxie on the mound. I just feel like not having Merkeles there to keep everything calm, it really makes a big difference.
And in the 4 games they played, they've also ran into the Ninjas and the Gorillas, so that's going to be tough.
That doesn't help.
All right, but going to our last team, we have the Bird Gang. They are 1-5. Two of their games were by forfeit, so they lost 2 of those games.
Yes.
And they're number 5 in our power rankings because they got a win this week, a big win, which Maskarowski said he was going to guarantee a sweep. He was half right. Half right. They battled in game 2 against the Nighttime Ninjas, but ultimately fell apart in the 4th. So he was close. He got his team some confidence. What do you believe the Bird Gang can do to get back into the playoff race and try to catch up to the Taka drivers?
I will say that the Bird Gang, of the 2 teams that are the outside looking in the playoffs right now, the Bird Gang is the one that really can make a push for that 4th spot. With Taka drivers having all of the rookies that they have, and the Bird Gang only has 1 rookie on their team this year. Mm-hmm. They do have guys who have a couple years of experience in this league. They know what it takes. They don't have anyone who's really killing it in any one category, but they don't have anyone who's laying any serious eggs either. Their highest ERA is Baker, who's averaging has a 7.5 ERA, but he is a rookie.
Right.
And as far as rookies go, he's only played a couple games. That's pretty solid outing. And he's kept the walks down as a whole, only 6 walks in 6 innings.
Yeah, and also, I believe he won Rookie of the Week last week.
He did.
So he got a home run in the first game and pretty much helped his team win that game.
Yeah, that was the thing, Zarowski, with his little guarantee of the sweep. He really shows confidence in his team and himself, and he came out that first game ready to play. He came out hitting the ball. He's hitting .385 this year. Not a lot of RBIs, but there's not a lot of guys on for him. His on-base percentage is sitting at .556, which is very good in this league. So Zarowski's game to play this year, just a matter of getting the rest of his guys on the same page and getting Baker more acclimated with this league, because he showed some promise in the first couple weeks they played.
They just need to find a rhythm, do some work, get them going, get people on base, and they could be fine, but they're going to have a lot of work to do to catch back up.
Yes.
All right, but in our next category here, we have early MVP candidates for the season. We're only going to talk about the MVP. We're not going to talk about any other awards. We're not going to talk about Cy Young, Gold Hands, because those are going to be coming down to the end of the season. But our early MVP candidates, we do have 4. We have Nate Bryan, who is Ethan. We have Nate Bryan, Ethan Arve, Jeremy Radishak, and Mike Kabaki. That's obviously him. And I was going to play a little game with Mike. I was going to give him the stats of all 4 of these players and ask him to pick which one is the MVP.
Okay.
I know you probably do know your stats.
I have a rough idea, but
you have a rough idea.
I haven't an MVP yet.
All right, so I'm going to go out of order here. So player 1, batting .477, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs, 9 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts, and he's 1-2. I'm not going to give you the ERA, so I might give too much away. Okay. Second player, batting .500, with 5 home runs and 17 RBIs, 12 innings pitched, 11 Ks, and he's 0-2. Third player, batting .390 with 5 home runs, 17 RBIs, 14 innings pitched, 10 Ks, he's 3-0. And the last player is batting .360 with 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and he's got 14 innings pitched with 4 Ks, he's 2-1. Out of those 4 players, who would you pick? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Well, I do know one that definitely jumped out is the 500 batting average. I do know that in our league, 524, I believe, is Jackson Bazia, who's leading right now.
Right.
So if someone's hitting 500, they're really stroking. They're really up there in the league. But you said he was 1-2?
1-2.
1-2 for that
0-2. He's
0-2 for that person. Can I get some ERAs?
Yeah, the ERA
for player 1.
Player 1's ERA, was that the .477?
Yes.
Yes. 5.56.
So he is quite the ERA.
Right. Player 2, 0-2 with 2.5.
Okay.
Player 3, 3-0 with 2.5.
Okay.
And player 4, 2-1 with a 0.36.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, though, player 4 also has the lowest batting average in that list.
Correct.
Of people.
Yeah.
Player 4 had the 360. I'm still giving it to player 4, I think, in the end right now, because he's hitting 360, very respectable, and you're affecting the game from both sides. The mound, I mean, what would you say, 0.3 for his ERA?
Yeah, 0.36.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it to him because it's his average isn't that much worse than everyone else's in that list, but his ERA is that much better. Like, I think you got to give it to player. Was that player 4? Is that player 4?
And player 4 is Nate Bryan.
Yeah,
we were talking about him a couple weeks ago about his early MVP run. I do believe he is a top contender. I would have went with, right now, player 2, which was Radishak. Jeremy Radishak, our commissioner.
Hitting 500.
Yeah. And you could see his stats consistently getting better as the season goes on.
Yes, the only reason that I couldn't go with with the 2.5 ERA, I mean, Yeah, I mean, I guess the power numbers are there too, but the 0-2 kind of hurts because he has his team's only 2 losses.
Yes, and the late inning games we were talking about
Yes.
earlier. All right, so those are early MVP candidates. More of you could be in this list soon.
Because you also have to remember, we haven't seen Tommy Merklis, who's been a very competitive
Correct.
player in this league. We haven't seen Sammy Kruchik yet,
Correct.
who, if I'm not mistaken, is leading the GBL in career batting average.
Is he really?
Last I checked, I know he definitely set a record last year for highest batting average of the season. And he's right up there in the top 3 in career leaders in batting average, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll
So
see if they come
we
back.
should be seeing him in the next couple weeks, hopefully, for the showtime with the Stallion Airs.
Stallion Airs was a gas house.
No, Stallion Airs first, and then Gas House the week after.
Got it. Okay.
And then Nightcap.
All right, but after the MVP candidates, we have a little bit of the hot topics. A little intro to this one. Power numbers are a little down this year. Does that have anything to do with the new bats compared to last year's Sandlot sticks? This year, the GBL is using the NWLA official bats.
Mm-hmm.
They won't be taped. We got the word this year. If they do
for
go
the
to originals.
NWLA tournament,
Yeah, they will not be taped, so we are taping them during the games.
We are.
But the Sandlot sticks are a little bit different. Can you give me a comparison? You've been a player in the league for a few years.
Now, for the last 4 years now in this league, we've had started to have bat standards, and that every team had to adhere to. That's about 4 or 5 years ago we started standardizing that, and we all use the Sandlot stick too,
Right.
which is what we used. Now, this year they've become very hard to find in bulk, so we go through so many bats a year, it's not worth trying to find and paying a premium to get them.
Right.
So we have switched over to the official NWLA yellow wiffle ball bats. Now, I will say, as a whole this year, numbers are down, but I think the biggest reason isn't necessarily due to, like, the bat has less pop. It just has a skinnier barrel. It does make it much harder to square up. I think that's been good, though, because power numbers are down, but they're not down to the point where pitching numbers are inflated and everyone's got under a 2 ERA. I feel like it's a pretty good happy medium right now. We have taped our bats for our league play because we use a different a different ball than what we will use at the NWLA tournaments, which are heavier and do travel farther.
Correct.
So we use a little tape on our bats to add a little pop.
Try to
Just a little weight.
simulate a little bit what the NWLA is going to be like.
Try and make it as fair as possible to both hitters and pitchers in the league and find that happy medium. It is a work in progress, but I feel like so far, early season, 3 weeks to play, just knee-jerk reaction, I feel like it's going to be good for the league as a whole because I feel like it evens out the talent level.
Okay, and we also got you got a quote there from us, and now we got a quote from Jeremy Radchek, who couldn't be here today. He might be here soon with the next Inside the GBL, maybe get a 3-man team.
That would be nice.
But he has a quote about the bats so far. He said, "So far, so good with the new bats. The hitting numbers are down a bit, but they aren't down as much as many people expected. Players are still hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Pitchers who struggled to get outs in the past are having a better chance of being successful. Also, speaking on the NWLA tournament, our NWLA tournament team should be better equipped for success at the tournament in July, considering official yellow bats are also used in Ohio."
Yeah,
So that's a quote from the commissioner himself.
And I feel like that right there is a very big difference for us from this year to next year. From last year to this year, competing there at that tournament, is the fact that we will be better equipped to compete with these guys there because we'll be more used to the bats.
So good luck to our GBL NWLA team coming up in the regionals very soon. Let's skip to the regionals real quick.
Since we're on the topic.
Since we are on the topic, we don't want to go out of order here. We also got commissioner's thoughts on the GBL and the NWLA. Let's get your thoughts real quick first. This is going to be your first time at the NWLA?
Yes, it's my first time that I am traveling with the team there. I'm excited. I've heard a lot of the stories of the times we've gone, and I'm excited to get my feet wet and get my hands into a little bit of regional play and get outside of our league and put myself a little bit out of my comfort zone. I mean, the last 2 seasons I've really had an uptick, and not just my overall performance in this league, but dedication to this league. I've really put forth a lot of effort the last couple of years to really make myself better and help make this league as good as it can be. So I'm excited to get the GBL's name out there at the NWLA tournament.
You might be their wild card this year because you'll be the new player this year, so this might throw the other teams for a loop. You coming in and hitting and pitching the way you've been this season,
Yes.
it could help the GBL a lot.
I'm excited. I'm definitely excited for the opportunity.
So let's go to our commissioner, of course, who can't be here today. His thoughts on the NWA, the regionals. Fortunately, the GBL is an automatic qualifier for the national tournament in Ohio, regardless of our success at Michigan Regional. since we were at a top 8 finisher at last year's tournament, all we have to do is show up at regionals, and we are guaranteed a trip to nationals. That being said, we still try our best to make our name for ourselves in Michigan. We want the rest of the wiffle ball world to see that we'll be a force to be reckoned with in Ohio. We have been criticized in past years for not using official yellow bats in the GBL. Now that we have made the switch this year, we expect to be more successful in tournament play. The only switch they haven't made, after he was talking about switching with the bats, are the balls. Will that be any big issue coming down the road for the regionals coming up in Michigan?
I don't think it's as much of an issue for the hitters as much as it is for the pitchers. Okay. Because we have guys in our league with the balls that we throw, they go straight if you throw them straight. Right. We all know the National Wiffle League Association balls that they use are made to be what a wiffle ball is supposed to do, which is curve around and make it fun and exciting and hard to hit. Now in our league, it's a little more. We try to even out the playing field a little more. It's there takes a little more skill in throwing a curveball on the off-speed pitches. Now that being said, I think the hardest thing that there will be is to get the difference between getting the location of your fingers right on these new balls. Because I have pitched around with them before. I messed around the last couple of years playing with them, but it is much tougher to control. But I feel like just like anything else, once you get enough practice in and we put the work in, we'll all understand what we need to do to get the ball in the strike zone and manipulate the movement the way we want to manipulate it. All
right, so from Micah Baki and Jeremy Radishak, expect big things this year in the NWL tournament. NWLA tournament.
Yes.
I seem to mess that up a lot. Another dilemma we have, this is GBL, local related.
Yeah, back to the GBL.
Back to the GBL. We have team attendance at no-shows. There's been a couple of times this season. The first week we had a no-show for the Bird Gang. And this week we almost had a no-show for the Lightning, where Andrew Felday was the only player to show up for the team. And I was not forced to come out of retirement. I just option to come out of retirement to help my former team out, as you can see here.
Repping the old Lightning.
Repping the old school Lightning jersey.
Uh-oh.
But the commissioner has some
that
words.
Was that a World Series title team, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, it was.
That was. You do have a World.
I do have a World
Series ring.
It's the Adam Morrison ring.
Yes, or the Luke
Walton,
if
not
you will.
worth much. Not gonna lie.
Hey, a ring's a ring, buddy.
True. All right, but commissioner has some not very kind words for no-shows so far in the league.
Yes.
From his words, Jeremy Radishak, no-shows are always a huge disappointment. There is no reason why a team cannot get 2 players to the park, especially when everyone knows that Sunday afternoons/evenings are the scheduled game times. There's nothing that disappoints me more than a forfeit. And that's probably pretty much why he had me come out of retirement and play, so we could at least get the games in and we had time.
Yes.
But how do you feel about it? If you were the only one to show up and maybe Arve couldn't come and Kruchek couldn't come, maybe some other unfortunate circumstances.
Well, it's tough. A lot of guys, when they first start this league, and it normally happens with newer teams, but when they first start this league, they don't realize the commitment it takes to really have not just a team get there, but to be successful in this league. Because for the last couple of years, I spent the time just getting there and wondering why I'm winning 4 games in a season.
Right.
It takes another level of commitment. There are guys in this league who are very, very committed to what we're doing here. And with that being said, it is tough when you have guys who say, you know what, we have a team together, we'll be there for games on Sundays. That was part of why we had the schedule change this year to Sunday doubleheaders, is because in the past, we've kind of just tried to schedule, like last year, we went Thursdays and Sundays. But people said it's hard to get there 2 days a week. So this year we went to Sunday doubleheaders to make it easier on those guys when you only have to plan for, a 6-hour block throughout your week to give to wiffle ball.
Right, it's not even going to be 6 hours. Most games only take 45 minutes to 55 minutes.
For your doubleheaders, an hour and a half to 2 tops. I'm saying 6 hours if you just want to put a
block
block
out,
aside. But it is tough. It does make it hard for this league to advance when we have guys who are committed, saying that they're committed to showing up, but then they don't. Hopefully that's just an early season fluke thing.
Right.
Guys are finishing up their years in school and getting to summer break, and I hope to see that maybe we can get a more standard attendance coming in and keeping everything more regular.
Like we're only going into week 4, so we still have 7 more weeks of GBL wiffle ball left.
It's still early.
Our next topic, though, is our new addition to the league this year, our play-by-play announcers. Sometimes most of the time, 100% of the time, it's going to be me doing the nightcaps. I will have a co-host, maybe 50%.
Whenever we can.
Whenever we can. It does help out with stats if I have a co-host.
I will say this last week with you and the commissioner was it was pretty fun to listen to. I know the
thank you.
video's not up online yet, but I did spend the other night listening to the games. It was entertaining to hear you have some color commentating
Right.
to go along with your play-by-play. It was nice. It was a
It
nice
is,
addition.
it definitely is going to say it is hard doing it by yourself, trying to get all the stats, pay attention to the game, pay attention to the pitch count, and record, make sure the video is good. But I can try to do it. I want to do the best I can, and I've been doing the best I can. I want to do better. But I like to talk about how the players are reacting on the field as I am talking right behind them in home plate. I'm pretty sure the Bergang Nighttime Gas House, Taka, and then Stallionaires. I'm pretty sure I've done everyone except for the Lightning. But 5 out of the 6 teams have heard me behind the plate. Some don't have very kind words. Speaking to you, Ryan Voges, that's directed completely at you. But other people have fun with it.
So what was Vogus' beef? Was it?
I may have in my first nightcap appearance decided to say he wasn't pitching very well on the mound because
was he pitching very well on the mound?
no, he wasn't,
Oh, well,
and he
then,
couldn't find the lawn chair, and he couldn't paint it wiffle ball white, as I like to say. He has picked up his game recently. I do give him credit. He has come to play.
I will give you the credit because you instigated that. You got him going. You lit the fire under him.
Twitter beef is real.
Yeah,
I can say that right now.
Yeah, it is very real.
But other than that, people enjoy it. There's a little laughter when I do mess up. It's gonna happen. I'm not completely 100% there, paying attention half the time because I'm always being looked at this way, like what's going on behind me, what's the count. But I try, and I will say that I do make my mistakes. I'm not perfect.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
No.
I will say though, it was interesting to be sitting there in the batter's box to hear you and the commish go on about the game and then about issues in the league, and it was interesting because I'm sitting there and I'm all in on the game, but I'm still hearing you guys.
Well, maybe we have to back it up a little bit so they can't hear us completely. But I think that's an interesting tactic to throw out there, like a little distraction in our GBL.
It's fun.
Like a
I
fan
like
distraction.
it. And you know what? But ultimately, what it's for is to get the games recorded and get some play-by-play and hopefully get some people to start watching the games and enjoy them when it come out.
And like Jeremy Radishek, our commissioner, has said, he wants the GBL to be a little bit bigger. He wants to expand on it because a lot of the wiffle ball leagues do have their own media guy. And I was his first choice to be there apparently last season. Couldn't do it. But this season I have committed myself to the 2015 wiffle ball season.
I like it.
And to my co-host, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Jr.
It's been fun.
We will see you in a few weeks during our next bye week inside the GBL. That's going to be our title for now. Maybe we can find something more creative.
Yeah, who knows?
But
today's issue was inside the GBL.
Yes.
Next time might be outside the GBL. We don't know yet.
yeah, we might even be outside in the pouring rain like we have been this couple times this year already.
I know. We've had rain, we've had freezing, we've had hot.
Yeah, it's been a plethora of different weather forecasts.
It's been fun. It's been an exciting season so far, and we're not even halfway through.
And we're excited to keep going. For Tyler Walk and Mike Kabaki, Wiffle out.
Wiffle out.